Joining us this morning is Mr. Joe Mansfield of Mansfield Sanitation Services. Joe, good morning. Good to see you this morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. Yourself?
Living the dream.
That's wonderful. We're going to hear about that dream because it's a great story. So tell us about yourself before we get into learning about your business.
Let's see. My family is from Girard area, but I moved to Titusville in 6th grade. Graduated 2000. Went to the military after that, and here we are.
Yeah, so go back to the military service. First of all, thank you. And
they paid me, so.
Well, what all did you do?
Well, I left in 2000, obviously before 9/11 happened for boot camp, and then got through boot camp, got through some of my training, and unfortunately 9/11 happened. So at that point it was how do I put it, urgent, obviously.
Yeah.
So within 24 hours we were on aircraft carriers on our way over to Afghanistan. So I did a year and 2 months there and a year and 3 months in Iraq.
Wow.
So, yeah, I worked on explosives and electronics and stuff like that. So
Was that like a life-changing thing because, you joined the military, just thinking about things that were happening around the world prior to 9/11. But 9/11, I mean, obviously, as you said, it was like that.
It was right now. It was kind of, it's wild. I mean, you're flying by the seat of your pants. You don't really have an opinion or a say in anything. So it's pack your sea bags. You're out of here. Get on this plane. Yeah, they flew us right to San Diego, right into California, and honestly, within 48 hours, we were underway. It's amazing. There was 6,800 people on the USS John C. Stennis.
Wow.
And we were all packed in. They were flying planes in while we were on our way over. So it was a pretty good feeling after what happened. You know what I mean? To get over there and start, doing what we had to do. So.
Yeah, that's incredible. And you're right. I'm sure, getting everybody together was like, this is...
Yeah, we were pretty motivated to say the least.
And the country was really. You think back at that time, it was so united, and it was a fantastic feeling. And you think about that compared to what's going on now, and you go, boy, what a horrible event. But
very negative.
The positive was how everybody was together.
Yes, negative circumstance was a great outcome for morale, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So in the military, what all did you do?
I worked on. I started aviation, worked on electronics and ordnance systems on the planes, and then from there moved into other things with ordnance and stuff like that.
Yeah. So then you get back, and what happened? Was it hard transition going from military to back to life here in Northwest Pennsylvania, or was it pretty easy?
It's a little tough. Yeah. You're just so happy to be home. Life's just a little bit different in the military realm than it is in the private sector. You know what I mean?
But you stayed motivated, obviously.
Oh yeah. You have to stay moving. It was just nice to be home. I actually thought that I was going to take time off more than I did, and I didn't. I kind of chilled for like a month and a half, and I was like, okay, I'm bored. I need to be doing something here. You know what I mean?
So when did the business aspect come into play?
Not for a while actually. We've been in business 10 years now.
Wow.
I've been doing this type of work since I was a kid, since I was about 7 years old. My family owns a business up in Erie County that is no longer theirs. But anyways, that's where I kind of got a background. And then after the military, I worked at a couple at Edinburgh wastewater treatment plant, so I learned a lot there. And then transitioned into the pipe fitters union and learned a lot of plumbing and stuff there. So it's just kind of been a slow, process of obtaining knowledge and moving it forward. So, yeah.
But obviously that plays a role in starting up a business and a company where you're not just this higher ranked guy who kind of, doesn't know a whole lot down below. I mean, you kind of took everything in and
I worked for everybody my whole life, and I got to the point where I was running crews, running bids, running, numbers, hiring, firing, you know what I mean, stuff like that. So I was already kind of doing what I wanted to do. And just difference in perspective on where the place I worked wanted to go and where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. So, I made the jump and haven't turned back. Can't now.
Well, this has been quite a business growth for you. Was it kind of surprising how quickly things grew for you, or was because listen, we're going to get into this part of it, but I think there's some keys to success. And when you look at your life in the military and what you're doing now, I think there's a lot of similarities in terms of work ethic and you know and just quality and how you treat people. And
well, it is. You have to just do what's right all the time when no one's looking. You know.
Yeah.
You just and you have to work hard. I mean, I barely seen my kids for the first years getting this thing started. I started with one little truck. I bought out a small business that was just a one-man rodeo. And I knew I would do well because I was already in the industry and I already had connections in the industry. So I think by the end of the first year, I went from one little pump truck to 2 pump trucks, a van, a pickup, a trailer, you know, and now I don't even know what all we have.
I was going to wait for this, but I'm going to show it now. This picture.
Yeah.
What do you think?
And that's an old picture.
Okay.
There's 20 of us now.
Oh my gosh. So, but what do you think when you see that and you see your name on the vehicles, on the business, and what that means, and what people think that means when they see it rolling down the road?
There's times I wish that maybe I hadn't used my last name, only because not like I'm ashamed of it or anything like that. But it does. I guess for my employees' sake, they make up my business. You know, that name was picked because I didn't necessarily know that we would get here. I hoped to. I didn't know how long it would take, but we hoped to. But sometimes, I mean, obviously I put a ton of pride into the business, and it helps to have my last name on there, but I kind of sometimes wish I could include all my employees' last names on there. You know what I mean? That's my only negative side of having it Mansfield Sanitation is, you know, that if I ever see, you know, went to get rid of the place and had to give my last name away, that would kind of stink.
But you kind
Not
of
that'll ever happen.
Well, yeah, but and that brings up another point too, where you kind of instill in the employees, you encourage them to take ownership. They should take pride because that also is a direct reflection of the business. Yes,
when you call us, you're not getting a cookie cutter business. We're not a we're not a what's the word I'm looking for? We run by our own set of rules and morals, and when you call us. You might not get me on the job site, but you are getting someone just like me. You know, someone that thinks the same way. That we're there to help you out. Yes, we have to charge money, but if we don't charge you money, then we don't stay in business, and then the next guy can't get great service and something fixed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just the way the world works.
Well, let's talk about the specifics of your business. Mansfield Sanitation Services, what all do you do?
Well, how long do you have?
We got time.
Yeah, okay. I mean, we do, so... It's been really hard to break this ceiling. You know, everybody knows we pump septic tanks, okay? So then you get into all the jokes of that and number one, the number two business and, you know, hauling political promises and whatnot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Everybody knows that we drain clean. You know what I mean? Simple things like that. And we do. We camera, we clean, we jet. But it's hard to break that ceiling for us because we do a little bit of advertising, but it's not substantial. Advertising is expensive. We use word of mouth, you know, 90% of the time. We are more of a mechanical contractor. So anything in your house, you know, or this building, you know, whether it's just replacing a faucet in the sink or a toilet that's leaky, you know what I mean, all the way down to every water line, every sewer line, the hot water heaters, the French drains in the basement. And then that goes on to everything outside, meaning industrial, commercial, municipal. So we can replumb your entire building here, your entire home, all the way down to your fixtures, and then we can run a new sewer line out to the main, and then we'll run a new main line.
Oh, wow.
We'll replace the manholes. You know, we do cure-in-place pipelining. A lot of people aren't familiar with that, but basically, if you can picture a wet fire hose, if you have a sewer line or something that runs underneath this floor, we don't want to necessarily cut up the concrete, or your main line goes up underneath the city road. It's going to be very substantial cost to dig that up because, well, first of all, right here's a state road. There's no way to detour around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a big cost in fixing the asphalt and permits through the state and everything else, among the other 97 permits you have to get. But anyways, so lining, if I have a pipe that's degraded in some way, bad joints, broken, bottoms missing, I can slip line it or cure-in-place pipeline it. So if you can picture a wet fire hose, is with epoxy, basically. That's not what it is at all, but just to give somebody a visual,
Sure.
You know, it's like turning a sock inside out. We use air and we blow it down the pipe We hold it at a certain pressure, and then a lot of times we use heat, either steam or hot water. We can ambient cure, but basically it's a chemical reaction. So once we get it to a certain temperature and bring that temperature back down, it snaps, and it's hard as concrete. There's like a 100-year warranty on the stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so now you have a brand new pipe inside of your old pipe, and we didn't have to dig, or if we did, it's a small spot.
Yeah.
You know, and it's one of those things that we wanted to offer because it's good for our customers. You know what I mean? And it's awesome technology. It's really come a long way. It hasn't been around forever, but it's really coming a long way every day. And we've had a few calls that people thought it was cool, and then you go to their house and the sewer line's only 4 foot deep and it's not under concrete or under a building, and you're like, look, it's going to be 10 times cheaper to dig this. You know what I mean? So that's the problem, is the material cost is, expensive.
Yeah.
So,
but because, I mean, obviously all the communities you serve, I mean, you're talking older homes, and there's that possibility. And a lot of times people think that, like, oh my gosh, there's no way I'm going to be able to dig this up. Correct.
And we like to have, so we do everything in house. And that was one of those services we wanted to provide because, by getting into that, if I come to your house or my grandmother's house or whoever, Johnny down the road's house, I want to be able to have options for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to be able to do anything that needs done and do it properly and get you up and running substantially better than you were.
Yeah. So I guess, sometimes people are afraid to call certain businesses because they think, oh, I think they just do commercial, or, maybe they just do residential. I mean, what when it comes to commercial, residential,
yeah,
anybody?
Everything. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, we get calls all the time. I hear it through the phone every day, and I just want to hit my head off the table, and it's no one's fault, but like I said, they don't know. Yeah. So, just a simple call, hey, our septic's backed up, can you come pump it? And then do you know somebody that we should call to, diagnose it? And I'm like, well, we'll send a van out. Oh, you do that too? Yes. And then once we're there, maybe the septic's failed or there's a bad pipe. Hey, we can fix that for you. Oh, you do that too. So it's something that we're trying to break through, but it just takes time, word of mouth, and Well,
I think it could also just be a product of your reputation, of the quality of work you do and what you do, where people just go, oh, I just assume that he's just really good at this, so he doesn't do this stuff.
Correct.
But that's not the case. Correct. You can do everything.
Yeah, we do. I mean, just like the big project that we had here in Titusville.
I was going to bring that up because I just want to go from if it's a leaky faucet or something like that, you're there.
Yes.
If it's a project like what you just did for the city of Titusville.
Yes, that was a little more than a leaky faucet.
Yes. What a project. Congratulations.
Yeah, well, we were just glad to help, and it worked out really well. It's all fixed up now.
What all did you do? Because this was major.
Yeah, well, it was kind of funny because we literally just had a call. They had some concerns, down at the city about the line going across the river, and so we went down and we tried to camera it. The line was full of water, so we tried to bypass pump some. We tried some different normal techniques to get a view of this pipe to see how it was, and then, long story short, without going into a huge fiasco, we dyed it. And when we dyed it, all of a sudden there was water coming up in places there shouldn't be water.
Wow!
So a small repair was tried to be made by the city, and they did a great job. But basically it's investigative. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then we got to a point where it was like, oh no, this is worst case scenario. It's literally not going where it's supposed to go, if you know what I mean. So at that point, it was it was kind of a fire to put out. It needed attention now. So we ended up working with health department and DEP and everybody else. We had to pull a bunch of permits, but we had to. It was a wild project. We had to redo the lift stations, all new vaults, all new plumbing on both sides. We had to drill in a new line 75 foot underneath the river. There's a lot of mussels. People aren't necessarily aware of this, and I can't remember the number, but whatever the number was told to us is like $30,000 for one of these mussels. They're like this big. You'll see them in over in Venango area and French Creek. You'll see them here in Oil Creek, and they're very, very do not touch, do not break, do not hurt. You know what I mean? So, I think they said it's like $30,000 per mussel or something. So,
I think that came up like when they were working on South Perry Street Bridge and removing that. I think, talk of mussels came up.
A little nerve-wracking.
Don't disturb the mussels.
Yeah, please don't.
Well, that was a big project. So you're watching The Morning Drill on Stream Television and on Armstrong's Neighborhood Channel and listening to it on the Allegheny News Talk Sports Network. Joe Mansfield with us here this morning, Mansfield Sanitation Services. So Residential, commercial, you guys can do it all. It's just a phone call, and that's how it starts.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you're expanding your locations as well, so
Yes.
to speak. Not that you haven't been in these communities, but
Correct. So we service all of Erie County, Crawford County. To be honest, we do work down towards Pittsburgh if the job is correct. We cover Ashtabula County, Ohio, and that's just that doesn't mean that we don't service past there. We do, but that's just what we
Right.
say. We'll go anywhere if needed. But yeah, we've done a lot of work in Titusville and surrounding areas, and we kind of wanted to get a better foothold around here. It seems like there's a need for our services more than what's getting rendered. So yeah, we just we're almost done with all our paperwork to get started. We'll have an office here in town, and we're working on hopefully here sooner than later we'll have our Titusville number. Not that you don't need to use that number. You can
Right.
use any number that we have. It's going to dispatch. Whatever you need is coming as soon as you call. You know
Right.
what I mean? But yeah, we're really excited to get involved in the community a little more here in Titusville, and yeah, it was pretty neat opportunity to.
and your main headquarters right now is
We're actually we're in Crawford County, believe it or not, but it's an Edinboro address.
Okay.
So we're right over there in the corner of South Edinboro, just north of Sagertown, Cosswago Township. Actually.
Yeah, great.
Which is nice. We're not far, so we'll have stuff here a little bit more, as we get this office going and stuff. But it's not really that far. That's why we were in love with the location where we're at, because covering Erie County, Crawford County into Ohio, I'm basically 45 minutes from anything.
Yeah, it's
worst
perfect.
case an hour. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so it's really perfect for us. We have so much equipment that there's no way I could have everything. I would never be able to have that much equipment at multiple locations.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're just so diversified with hydro excavating and our mainline camera that's a tractor that drives down the pipes, and just some of the crazy stuff that we have. You can't just go buy another one to sit somewhere else.
Do you enjoy like the technology part of it and how things
absolutely.
are changing? Okay.
Yeah. We GIS. So it gets nuts. Like I said there again, how many hours do you have? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of technology in what we do. There's a lot of just hard work. Have to have the knowledge of how it works, but there's a lot of technology now. Some of these stuff we're working on is wild.
We were talking a couple weeks ago, and one of the things that was just interesting is there's larger companies, and you were just you weren't bad mouthing them at all, but you were just kind of explaining some of the differences. What separates Mansfield Sanitation Services from other companies?
I think one of the biggest things is a couple of things. So some of the things that we run into, we do everything in house. Literally 99% of what needs done on a job is done in house. So there's some little things. We don't have a boring rig. Don't want to. I have multiple guys that we work with that bore for us. That is like the only thing that we don't do in house. We do our own electrical work. We do our own plumbing work. We do all our own excavating, all our own, everything is in-house. And what's nice about that is we have the knowledge when we're bidding the job. So there's plenty of times where I've lost a bid per se. I'm just shooting a random number, but you lose a $30,000 bid over $1,000. Well, come to find out, the contractor that did it didn't pump the tank and crush it, didn't put topsoil on and seed and straw it. You know what I mean? I had paid an electrician that came in, and that bill went to them. Well, it cost them $2,000 more than it would have for me to do it, and they got $1,000 cheaper bid. You know what I mean? So a
yeah.
lot of it's reading your bid and really talking to your contractors. And even if for us, that's what I tell people. Hey, when you get your bids in, give me a ring. Like, talk to me. Let's see. One of my closest friends, we just tied 2 of his new apartment units into sewer, and he was like, Joe, this guy's like $3,500 cheaper than you. And I said, well, let's get together. Let's look at the bid. So he called me, and we went over it. There was no electrical included. They weren't wiring in anything. We did all the electrical in the house, including the conduit out, and there was no alarms included. So, you really have to make sure that, you know what I mean, you're getting apples to apples comparison on
Right.
it. So we try very
So
hard.
there's a case where you're getting really what you're paying for.
Yes, exactly. The same way with your big project here in Titusville. That was insane. There wasn't one extra on that job. There wasn't one valve that needed to be bought that we didn't account for. There wasn't one, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where a lot of times there's extra. So yeah, we can do it for this. And then by the end of the project, it went from this to this because, well, we didn't see this and we didn't see this. So we try not to do that. Those things can't happen. You know what I mean? You can get in a pinch on bigger jobs where you're like, hey, we didn't know this storm sewer line was here, and you know.
Well, yeah, but I would imagine as you get into things, you're going to discover some things once in a while too.
Yes.
So
Yes, yeah, and for us, you know, you're not just another name on a book either. I mean, I can genuinely tell you that the crew that we have, they care very much about the job they do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're very professional, and we don't want to. I don't want a repeat customer when I can fix the problem. I don't want to come here and have you pay me to clean your line 3 times a year knowing there's roots coming in when I can say, hey, let's line this thing and let's get this over with. You know,
Right.
Now you have something that is structurally better and it's not going to plug up on you. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff like that. We genuinely want to fix it right and get out of your hair. We just want you to be happy.
every day different for you.
Every second's different.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
But that's got to make it fun and challenging too at the same time.
It is. It's high speed. Like we say high speed, low drag. I mean, it's just wild. We try to do everything we can to get people in. You know, every day there's so many emergency calls. So you already have your regular workload, and you already have, and we're all human. You know, I got 2 guys out today sick. You know, one injured himself over the weekend. The other guy's, got some kind of flu. So it's like, okay, we have to count for that. And then, holy smokes, this city's got a problem with the lift station. So I got to send trucks there and Tom down the roads, basement's full of you-know-what. So we need to get over there. So it's wild.
It never slows down.
No, it does not.
Joe, how do folks find you if they want to learn more or have questions, have a problem, and they need your services?
Honestly, use your Google machine or, however you want to search us. If you search us, we pop up. I mean, we have a big online presence. We have a Facebook page. A lot of people like to go on there and read our reviews and stuff. There's quite a few there. Any phone number that we have that's advertised, just so everyone knows, that's one thing that we do different as well.
Okay.
We're always on call. There's always somebody on call. So, a lot of people try to obtain like a certain employee's cell phone number or my cell phone number. If you call that office number at any time, there's someone to answer the phone. If they don't, we're going to call you right back.
All right, Mansfield Sanitation Services. Joe, thanks for coming in.
Yep.
Maybe you can stick around and help snake the waste that's going to come out of our next guest mouth.
You got it.
Coming.